Look, you've got such a fertile battlefield if you want to go after the credibility of Michael Cohen. I think any lawyer would kind of salivate at the idea of having a chance to cross-examine him. And some of it's bias, some of it comes from sour grapes, some of it comes from the failed relationship that he had with President Trump. But, you know, the convictions and the failure as a cooperator are big moments in terms of judging him.
And Todd Blanche says, unbeknownst to President Trump and all the years that Cohen worked for him, Cohen was also a criminal. Now, this, I suspect, Karen and Ellie, is a reference to the thing having to do with the medallion cabs. Is that right?
Could mean a lot of things. I mean, Michael Cohen ended up admitting to a bank fraud, multi-million dollars relating to, he used to be a lawyer that dealt with cab medallions in New York City. He pled guilty to $4 million worth of tax fraud. But what's interesting and where this is going to get really contentious, this allegation by Todd Blanche, is how about the crimes relating to this, the campaign finance that Michael Cohen pled guilty to? How about the lying to Congress about Donald Trump's effort to build in Moscow? Michael Cohen and the prosecution are going to say he did that with and for and at the direction of Donald Trump. It sounds like Trump's saying, well, he got duped by his own lawyer. That'll be for the jury.
And Mr. Blanche saying just now, Karen, that Michael Cohen is a, quote, convicted perjurer, which we've already discussed earlier about his lying to Congress. Trump's attorney saying that Cohen is, quote, obsessed with President Trump, even to this day, noting that Michael Cohen has a podcast and does other political commentary, especially on MSNBC, criticizing Donald Trump. Todd Blanche has basically said Michael Cohen has sour grapes because he wasn't picked to join the Trump administration in 2016, that Michael Cohen was a criminal, unbeknownst to Donald Trump, who had no idea he would engage in such devious activities. And third, that his entire financial responsibility right now, he has everything to gain by destroying Donald Trump. That's where his podcast is. That's why he's called to go on MSNBC, et cetera, because of his opposition to Trump.
I would add one more thing. Michael Cohen went to jail, you know, in this case. That was not pleasant. I'm not saying that this is revenge. Two things can be true at the same time.
You're going to hear negative things from Stormy Daniels. She's made her whole career off of this. You're going to hear negative things about Donald Trump from Michael Cohen. He's also making his whole career out of this. It will be interesting what they say about David Pecker.
You know, in the scheme of prosecution witnesses with checkered pasts, Michael Cohen is a veritable angel. You know, prosecutors put on drug dealers, murderers, thieves. It's the nature of the business, and juries listen to them. The prosecution has already signaled that this is coming. The jury knows it. The jury's heard of Michael Cohen. They know about this whole checkered past. It's almost, in this case in particular, given all of the notoriety and publicity, Michael Cohen's baked into the case. No one's going to be surprised when he gets on the witness stand.
$1,000
Here's Donald Trump
per
coming
violation.
out right now.
Here we go.
So you can keep talking.
Yeah.
And it's a case as to bookkeeping, which is a very minor thing in terms of the law, in terms of all the violent crime that's going on outside as we speak, right outside as we speak.
You know, Jake, it's all about sources. In this particular instance, I believe the publication this man is referring to, or he owns or represents, is the National Enquirer with an E. They made their business on UFOs and Elvis sightings. So I think you argue that to the jury. And then we have Mr. Cohen. You've got a polluted source. So I think the defense will take a lot of time stressing that to the jury. And I agree with Laura. You don't leave, as a juror, you don't leave your common sense at the door. And, you know, we're not talking about the Atlantic or National Review here. We're talking about the National Enquirer. You know, it's a shaky paper to begin with, and this is how they make their money. So if you can shift the focus there a little bit, and then when his former lawyer gets on the stand, when you go through his list of convictions and show what a polluted source he is, I think the defense can make a lot of hay with that. You know, I think, Jake, you said his entire career was based on attacking Donald Trump. Actually, most of his career was a sycophant to Donald Trump, you know, hitching his star to Trump's wagon. And then when things didn't work out for him, he turned on the former president, and he's now making a second career out of attacking Donald Trump. And I think that gives the defense a lot of fodder to cross-examine him.
He then went on to attack the credibility of Michael Cohen, who's expected to be a key witness in this case, saying that Cohen has previously lied under oath, saying that Michael Cohen was obsessed with Donald Trump and his entire financial livelihood depends on him trying to take Donald Trump down.
If you're one of the 12 jurors or one of the 6 alternates, you might not know what catch and kill journalism is all about.
Right,
you might not
right.
know what checkbook journalism actually is, since it's not what we all practice. We remember
Yes.
Trump season 1. We remember 2015, 2016. We were covering that campaign. You covered his White House. You understand all of these types of things, the players and their roles and how bizarre and weird some of them may have been.
So I just want to make sure that I understand something, because I'm really genuinely confused. So we've seen video protesters saying Al-Qassam, which is the armed part of Hamas, the militant arm of Hamas. Al-Qassam, you make us proud. Kill another soldier now. These are people chanting this in the streets outside Columbia University, but right next to Columbia. We say justice, you say how. Burn Tel Aviv to the ground. Hamas, we love you. We support your rockets too. Red, black, green, and white, we support Hamas's fight. It is right to rebel. Al-Qassam, again, that's Hamas, give them hell. It's right to rebel. Hamas, give them hell. That is protected speech in New York. But my question is, well, tell me, what's your take on that? Because that's one of the things that students are hearing.
I think is vile. I think it's disgusting. I think it is something that someone should not be communicating.
While Donald Trump was on trial in a New York courthouse, President Biden was out on the campaign trail.
But publicly, the campaign has wasted no time trying to rib the former president, their new and now opponent in the 2024 race, with some sharply worded missives, strategically using language like Sleepy Dawn, Stormy, and Hush in sort of an oblique reference to the trial in those statements. But despite all of that, I'm told by both campaign and White House officials, Wolf, that there's no formalized effort to monitor the daily developments of the trial. There's no war room. There are no daily memos. There are no individual staffers who are tasked with reporting up to campaign and White House brass on what happens each day. I'm told they're getting their information like the rest of us, just watching the proceedings on TV.
Trump was watching as his lawyers were tearing into the key witness. They said, quote, his entire financial livelihood depends on President Trump's destruction, referring to Cohen.
When are they going to look at all the lies that Cohen did in the last trial? He got caught lying in the last trial. So he got caught lying, pure lying.
Well, moments later, Cohen firing back. Hey, Von Expletive in Pants, your attacks of me stink of desperation. We are all hoping that you take the stand in your defense.
And a kind of an adjunct to this, just real quickly to raise, Republicans are looking at this and saying, this seems awfully similar to what happened with the Hunter Biden laptop pre the 2020 election, right? You're hearing a lot of that from Republicans. Jeff, no, it doesn't make sense.
It has nothing to do with Hunter Biden.
No, it does. Hold on for a second. Let me just explain, right? So people will say, the Biden story was put out there and saying 75 intelligence officials said that this was all Russian propaganda and didn't get in the news. Nobody really looked at it before the election, right? There was a conspiracy, a coordinated effort to keep it out of the media until after the election, right? And people say nobody peeled back the onion on that. No one's looking at that. And so why does Trump, Jeff, again?
It seems like plenty of people in Congress are looking at things. They just haven't really found anything. So when they do, we can talk about it.
But it's about the conspiracy to keep it out of the media before. Nobody took it seriously before the election.
Hunter Biden, has never run for president, has never been subject to campaign finance regulations. We're talking about candidate Trump running for president. So I think that's a clear distinction.
Karen, what stood out to you about the former president? Did anything stand out about the former president's behavior today?
Yeah, a lot stood out to me. The main thing, though, is that he once again violated the gag order if he holds him in contempt.
And the argument is that Michael Cohen is live streaming probably right now on Facebook for the next 5 hours. Right?
Michael, he's not the defendant.
I understand, Jeff, but this is the Trump argument, right? That he can go on and fight, and that Trump's being, his one hand tied.
But you've made the point that